Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with the streams for practice going off a few days ago, Octane has revealed his perspective on who the best team in the game is right now and just how competitive it is up there at the top. But also said that Zinni, that's none other than Methodz from the Boston Breach, wants the snipers to get fully banned. Octane is certainly not on board with this one and it's getting pretty spicy as a result. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Just so I thought a great intro clip is. This is Fame versus Nubzy. Like, honestly, Nubzy's form is unbelievable. Like, I know that aBeZy said in the reply here, he runs like an NPC. Like, look at this form, mate. I mean, okay, I don't really want to comment, but this is just absolutely fantastic stuff. And I thought he might have improved his form because you guys might remember the original video from a few years ago, which was, I think, Nubzy versus Mack, which is this video here. These guys are going at like 5 miles an hour here in this running race. And I mean, yeah, look at this form that Nubzy has after the fact. It's just absolutely fantastic stuff. So yeah, that's my Seattle Surge coach, baby. Also to say this key issue which is developing right now, which seems to be the game skipping in most gunfights that players get into. You can see here from Doug's perspective, as he goes around this corner, the game kind of skips for half a second here. Like right here, it skips for him as he's going around the corner to take this fight. And this might be a Modern Warfare thing, which it probably is, to be honest. But it also might be a drivers thing. I know that people have said that you need the right NVIDIA drivers here, and if you've got the wrong NVIDIA drivers, then it will do stuff like this. You've got to update the drivers or maybe go back to an older version. I don't know. People have been speculating on changing the drivers, restarting the PC. I know that Slasher complained of similar things the other day. So look, it's probably a Modern Warfare 2 thing, but it also could be the graphics card drivers aren't optimal here. So yeah, Doug was not having a good time, and he says either my game skips like this or my timers get completely thrown off, or the game literally freezes before I shoot. My frame drops by over 100 every time this skip happens. Is it a driver issue? So yeah, he's been trying to figure it out. This I thought was kind of funny here because Chino replied and said, yeah, you were low-key just getting slammed. And then he said, I didn't even watch the video. I just knew Doug was getting slammed regardless. I thought that's pretty funny. And also I mentioned yesterday for you guys, there were rumors going around that Doug had dropped 6 kills again. I can confirm these rumors are official. I did manage to find a screenshot here from one of these maps on the hydroelectric hardpoint where Doug goes 6 in 23, baby. Look, in fairness, he's got a minute 40 in the hill regardless. So this guy's going to get the hill time, but I'm sure that Kremp is sitting there at 32 and 18, looking at Doug at 6 in 23 and thinking, damn son, like what went wrong, right? And they're playing up against Hollow, 2 Real, Mock and iLLeY on the other side of things. Mock, I think we just mentioned because he was, I believe, racing Joe Nubzy in that clip from a couple of years ago. Might not have been Mock. I might be getting that wrong, but I thought that was pretty funny regardless. So yeah, Doug did officially drop 6. I can confirm those rumors were indeed correct. Quick note on Gunless here because we saw a while ago he doesn't like living in Dallas, Texas anymore. He's moving out to New Jersey. That move has now basically happened. So what does this mean for Gunless? Because we saw not that long ago, in fairness, there were rumors that Gunless was going to have to retire or was going to have to go back to Canada and it wasn't going to work from a competitive perspective. Now Gunless is seemingly now got something sorted with a team to actually get his visa and stuff like that. But obviously a team might want him to be in Dallas if that's where they are based. So not sure what's going on here exactly, if Gunless is a substitute somewhere or what's going on, or if he managed to get the visa sorted via other means, just because you'd think that if they, well, most teams are based in Texas, so you'd think they'd probably want their substitute there if they needed him there, and there's not many teams that are based up in the East generally. Okay, there's there's a few teams that aren't based in Texas, but most teams will be there. Even Minnesota this year are moving to Texas for at least the winter months. So one to look at for sure, because even the subliners, right, I'm pretty sure they're still going to be based in Texas. Okay, Atlanta FaZe are based around the Atlanta area, and Florida are based in Florida, but most teams are based in Texas now, and even LA Thieves, okay, last season they were in LA, and they still will be this time around, but that's not New Jersey, obviously, so that probably doesn't make sense either. Attached, not happy with no ranked play. Look, the CDL mosh pit, we saw it was meant to come out yesterday, didn't come out. Ranked play is not going to arrive for quite some time either. But let's dive into some spicy stuff then. Firstly, this was like crazy from Raxy right here. Like, look at this. This is poor Prolute on Hotel, and he gets absolutely world style. I can't believe this. He goes for the 180 world star on him, and he absolutely smokes him with the Scar. So that was Prolute getting hawked on. Prolute and TJ Halley here were in the 1 versus 1, and they were doing a 2v2 shell, I suppose. And Raxy takes them down. Even this is Simp says, nah, this is criminal. Basically, Simp trying to throw shots here at Prolute, right? And even Prolute comes back in the replies, and then Simp says, I don't know, you should probably worry about not getting 180'd for the top of the map. This ain't got nothing to do with me. So yeah, pretty spicy stuff to be honest, right? I mean, I don't exactly know what's going on here, but yeah, Simp coming in the replies to roast Prolute a little bit harder, and then he comes out and says, yeah, you should probably worry about not getting 180s. Pretty spicy, right? So yeah, I don't really know if there's much history between Simp and Prolute, but this season, whenever we get Seattle versus the Vegas Legion, might get a little bit spicy, and yeah, maybe Prolute needs to work on not getting gunned for the top of the map. It's probably a rather hard target to hit, and even this one, his own teammate was throwing the dagger in. So like, obviously in Warzone, they've got these like AI bots or something that fly around nowadays. I don't know what they were even thinking their Infinity Ward. But as TJ says, Byron Prolute just died to a bot in Warzone like actual AI, says Clayster. So yeah, even they're throwing the daggers in on Prolute as well over the last day or so. It's probably not had the easiest time for sure. And obviously internally within that Vegas camp, we're not really sure how they're getting on. There's been some rumors, well, not exactly rumors, right? Some clips that have come out showing that the chemistry might not always be great within that camp, but the team themselves has actually been looking pretty good. And Octane was giving his thoughts on who the best teams are in the game right now, trying to rank the best teams, which is a very difficult and challenging thing to do. The first name that comes to mind is FaZe. We know that FaZe, okay, they've had their difficult scrim results up against Boston, but I think in general, from the rumors we've heard, they've still been looking pretty good. Maybe the best of the teams in terms of overall map count and record, but still, it's very tight. They're not dominating scrims like we've seen them do in the past. There's no team, according to Octane, that's getting completely destroyed as well, which is kind of a surprise, just because what we saw the other day with Dashy saying that one team is getting hawked on. And look, maybe LA Thieves and Octane haven't played much against London. That's the team that we kind of rumored maybe that are getting smoked right now, but it might have changed over the last few days. So Octane reckons that really there's no dominant force, but also discusses the sniper GA. We saw quite a while ago now they added no attachments to the sniper rifle, so you can use a sniper, no attachments are allowed. And a lot of teams are happy with that and seem to believe that's the way to go. Methodz, though, disagrees and wants it banned entirely, and Octane has some spicy words as a result.
Who'd you say is top 4 right now, then? I mean, dude, truthfully, it's like probably like you just have to say FaZe. I would probably. I don't even want to rank it. I'm not answering that. I don't even, like, truthfully, I don't even know, bro. Like, like, I'm not even trying to bait. It's actually that close. Like, you can make an argument for so many teams. Oh my god. Not horrible. Who's the hardest teams you guys have played against so far? Or the best looking team? Dude, everyone's pretty even. It's a answer, but like, there really isn't a team that's like separating themselves from the pack. It's pretty even right now, I must say. Like, pretty much everyone's just like trading scrims, to be honest with you. Kind of weird. This is like the first time it's ever been like that since I've been a player. It's like usually there's like at the beginning of a game there'll be a team that's like learning faster or like just picking things up, but like legitimately there's no team right now that's like blowing people out of the water. Everyone's pretty even. We're getting on one or the other. What's going on, Acorn? Hello. Zin's trying to take my boomstick. Bro, Dill, fight for me, please. Dill, please fight for me, bro. Don't let this fat idiot GA my snipe, please. You gotta go. You gotta fight for me, man.
So let's discuss this sniper GA first, right? Methodz has been involved in this for quite some time. We saw back in Cold War when the snipers were banned originally, really, a couple of years ago. And that basically there was some drama going on that Methodz is commenting on here. I remember talking about this at the time, where Crimsix pretended, I believe, while snipers were still allowed, and Crim said that basically no attachments were allowed, and it helped his teammates of Huke, Shotzzy, and iLLeY just run around and have their way with the opposition. It turns out the snipers did in the end get banned, and even last season at the start of the year, pros wanted the snipers gone as well. And yet basically the community convinced them to try it at the kickoff, and it turned out they really weren't that good anyway, and they brought them back. This season, a similar story. A lot of the pros probably wanted them gone. They've come to a compromise with no attachments being allowed, and that probably makes them about balanced enough. And this is, to me, the key issue with GAs. Is there anyone on Boston that's really known as a good sniper? Methodz, certainly not the case in my understanding. Awakening, not really. Maybe he can use the sniper, but I don't know. I don't think there's any like standout sniper player. Probably Nero's cracked with it, to be honest. But still, I don't know if Nero, Vivid, Awakening, or Methodz really are, top sniper players. They certainly don't come to mind when you think of top snipers in the league. Octane and Los Angeles Thieves, on the other hand, very different story. Octane was one of the best last season. That is the thing with these GAs and why they can get problematic is because, there's a good reason for Methodz and Boston to maybe want it gone because they're not really going to use it anyway. So why would they want it to stay if probably they're not going to use it anyway, right? It's because we're probably only going to see one sniper in Search and Destroy this season per team, and some maps you probably won't see any, like we had last season, right? And depending on the situation, you won't need one. But if Boston don't want to use the sniper anyway, they might as well push for it to get banned, because that then hurts the other teams. Octane and Attach, clearly not so happy with this. I'm sure that Minnesota Rokkr as well with Cammy, they probably want the snipers to stay. Other teams will be in a similar boat as well with their good sniper rifle players. I'm sure that FaZe with Simp and potentially OpTic with Dashy probably want the snipers in. So yeah, Methodz seemingly is pushing for it to be banned. A lot of the teams that have good sniper rifle players, such as as Octane on Thieves obviously want it to stay, and therefore that's where GAs go a little bit wrong, right? Because it's not necessarily what is actually too strong or too weak or what needs to be gone for the sake of competitive integrity. It's what teams benefit or kind of, well, lose out if a certain thing is banned or not banned, which is probably what Octane's getting at right here. But the specific words he had to say for Methodz were, you know, pretty interesting. Of course, they're friends and they were teammates in the past, even on the OpTic gaming team back in World War II, if you guys remember those days, which I'm sure some of you do. Now, just wanted to mention quickly the other side of things, which team's the best in the game. We heard Dashy say the other day that one team is getting absolutely destroyed and they're just a free dub every time they play them, basically. We thought that might be London. It might be a Florida. It might be a Los Angeles Guerrillas. I don't think it's one of those teams, but those are the only two realistic options right now because Vegas have been looking good. But what did you think about his perspective on the best teams in the game? Because he reckons this is the first time ever that he knows where there's not really been a standout team. Usually early on in a cycle, there'll be a team that kind of understands the game a bit better early on, takes a bit of an advantage. We've seen that in most early titles where there's some kind of surprising team that will do well in the first couple of months. We saw in World War II a Team Caliber surprisingly winning the back-to-back opening events. They just understood the game at a better level than anybody else. Now, is everything so competitive here because the game has just no skill cap, right? Which was the argument last season, which may have been a viable argument, to be honest, and may well be a viable argument again. Or are the teams at the top now just increasingly stacked and increasingly competitive, which I also think is a big factor, even probably more so this season than it was last season with some of the changes we've seen made, and also with Vegas now seeming kind of competitive. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? The first name that came to his mind was FaZe. I guess from their experience playing FaZe, they still are potentially the strongest team, but still, I mean, look, they're up there with all the other lot. FaZe, Thieves, OpTic, Toronto, Seattle, Minnesota, throw even Vegas into the conversation. New York have been looking good from the scrimmers we saw, and that's kind of scratching the surface of the competition in the league. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mix of both this season. We'll see who is actually good when it comes to the first events, and even the pros have kind of put together their list of the top 10 COD players, I'm guessing of all time. Surprising in a way because obviously they talked to the pros here to get this ready to go. The pros have voted on their best players ever, so I'm kind of looking forward to this. But funny in a way, they just they did a trailer for this, right? They could have just done it as an actual list, I suppose, but what they've done is they've done, well, a trailer for this. They're going to do 10 to 6 and then 5 to 1. So pretty interesting. I think we saw this in Halo a while ago, right, where they kind of did their rankings of the top 20 Halo players ever or something, and this is going to be kind of spicy, especially because it's voted by the pros. And just to mention one final thing before we close out here, former Los Angeles Guerrillas analyst Doug Lee comes out with an interesting kind of analysis here on if you guys follow football at all, soccer, you'll know of this kind of analysis tool called XG, or expected goals, basically looking at many different factors to determine how many goals the team should have scored theoretically. And apparently you can kind of do the same thing with kills, have like an expected kills and therefore an expected KD ratio based on the difficulty of certain gunfights, based on AR SMG, trade angle, height advantage. Pretty interesting stuff. So you can come up with kind of an analysis here to determine what their actual KD and performance was compared to what their expected KD and performance was based on the gunfights that they took. So you can see how like overperforming or underperforming certain players are. Interesting analysis, especially when it takes, I'm sure, further course over time as well. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.